episode of Yarns About Patterns. That's right, I'm back and I'm just about squeezing this in monthly. I'm about to get on a train journey, so I'm recording this just beforehand so that I can edit it tomorrow and hopefully get it out the next day so that I can continue the first Sunday a month loose schedule that I'm trying to maintain with no pressure. I'm going to do this in a slightly different order today. I'm going to show the finished completed knit items at the end because in wearing them I will mess up my hair. Which means let's do everything the other way around. So I'm going to do spinning first. I've not had much time to do the spinning for various reasons, but I did manage to get to the plying stage. I looked it up in my book, which is, I've shown it off before. I looked it up in the Spinner's Book of Yarn Designs. So I'm on Plying Basics, page 70. I just wanted to check. A lot of that has got wheel spinning in, but enough of it applies to drop spinning that it was still useful. I've got this beginner's Turkish drop spindle. It doesn't handle lots of yarn. It's got a very short stump. It had a hook on top, which I don't use. I use this, but the ridge is very small, and so with thick yarn like this, you can see I wound the grey around the purpley bluey black. And I should have some pictures up that will show how I did this and how I was controlling them. I was using the gift that I showed off last time to have them coming out of the holes of the bowl. And as you can see, I have 2 of the 3 balls of purple left over and not very much grey left over. What a mess that is. I thought there would be a lot more because I measured them and I had 3 times as much of this as I did of this. But apparently its journey, I've managed to do the wraparound journey fairly well, controlling the tension how I did. It's not completely even. There's some bits that are really spaced apart long. There's some bits that really look good and promising as far as bubble yarn goes. It's looking hopeful. I'm going to get something that's going to look kind of cool. It's very fuzzy. I don't know how you stop hand spun yarn being super fuzzy, or if that's something desirable. I've not really heard people talk about it too much. Most people who do hand spinning on the internet are really quite good at it already. Not everybody, but I just don't hear people talking or worrying about the fuzz. Maybe I'm too used to commercial yarns and it's bothering me more than it should with natural spun fibres. I don't know. Let me know if you've got any opinions or thoughts or knowledge on that. So that's my mediocre spinning progress. All I can think to do is, because I've got 2 balls of this left, they're not quite the same length but similar. Maybe I'll ply together and I'll have just some of this colour without the grey because it is lovely on its own. Likewise, I have still, for the second strand, I've still got this bump of the same amount of grey left that I have to spin in the other direction. So that's my next task. That will presumably have a similar amount left over, but probably not the same because obviously I'm learning and my spinning is changing, improving the whole time. But maybe I can ply those together at the end as well, and then I'll have a bit of grey, not much, a bit of purple that's really very chunky, and the kind of bubble crepe. So I'll get 3 yarns out of my experiment to sit in a pile and not be used, because what do I use my experimental yarn with? I think they'll not be used until I discover weaving, which won't be for a while. I say discover it. I've done a little weaving before, but not much. I've made a rug. I don't have it. I can't show you. Someday, I promise. I shouldn't promise. I almost got away with saying I've made no yarny purchases this month. I've made other purchases, non-yarn related, non-crafting related. However, because I delayed shooting this video until today, I actually went to knit night last night and I cast on a new project, and in order to cast on that project in the sizes specified in the pattern, I needed smaller needles. They wanted a 2.25mm size 1 US and a 2.75, which should be size 3 US, because we're missing 2.5, so it must be skipping a size. We have these Knit Pros from the shop. This is all they had. They're really tiny ones, and they were $7.95 each. So it was a little bit expensive, but they are very nice, and I really like the combination of they're very smooth, but they're still wooden feeling, rather than smooth, super slippery metal. And the other, I mean, I can show you how short they are because I can show you my project. We can move straight along to works in progress, which is this. It is going to be Dragons Eating My Feet. It's the Here Be Dragons socks, and I shall put the info up. Now there's not much to show right now. I'm doing them in gold because gold dragon is my thing. I've got some highlight colours for the bits, mostly the green in here, and I don't know about the red because the red's quite bright against this yellow, and the orange is kind of nicer, but the theme I want is with a bright red. So I might just do green, or I might be brave and adapt the pattern to put red on, but the place I want red isn't the colour change in the pattern, and it might be too fiddly to do that anyway. So I'm going to get to it and then decide. The white I might use for the teeth. It says to cut out felt teeth, but what I might do is I might crochet a chain of triangular teeth and just sew them on. And the red, orange, and maybe a bit of the yellow I'm going to use to do the flames that come roaring up your legs to keep them warm. So, yeah, it's going to be fun. They're going to be really cute. I bought this. So this yarn is Knit Picks Straw. So I got it imported from America just before all the tariff announcements hit. And it was still not cheap, but I don't think we're going to be able to get any more. So I want to do something with the, sorry about the crackling, remaining rainbow colours of the mini pack here. But I think I've seen some similar same weight yarn in the local yarn shop, so I think I'm going to buy some black from there and continue supporting my local yarn shop, and then I'll be making my own knitted sock design, possibly with the leftovers. I don't know when, because I still have other patterns to write, which is my segue into patterns. So I have started on the second belt design. So the first belt design has I-cord ties at the back, so it's for if you don't mind having a bow at the back of your belt. And this pattern I've started writing up, and I've started designing the sort of PDF for this pattern, and I've got the notes, and I just need to finish it. I just need to sit down and make myself finish it. So during my week away, that is one of my goals, and if I do not get it done during my week away, I am going to text one of my knitting group and I am going to say, hey, would you hang out with me in like a cafe or library or wherever for a few hours to hold me accountable and make sure that I bring along my laptop and I actually work on this pattern? Because my aim is to get this out. I need to be held accountable here as well, to get this out next month. So next month's video, I hope, will be a pattern release video rather than a regular vlog. And I'm saying either or because I'm realising with my schedule the amount of time I'm likely to have. Either or is probably better, and then I'll have more to share the next time I do vlog a month later. But if I'm feeling energetic, I might do the extra vlog as well. I'm going to keep the commitments low to make sure that I stick to this. There is something that was delaying me, is that I wanted to do, and this is something I'm noticing as a pattern with my pattern designs. I want to do multiple versions. I want to cover all the bases. I want to say, oh, you could do it like this, but you could also do it like this. That's not very compatible with time and budget and not having test knitters. right now I'm biting off more than I could chew of it. I have started an alternative pattern for this, and it's very luxurious. It will have a different clasping mechanism to the simple tie with an I-cord one of the free pattern, and then this will be a low-cost pattern that will be better tested, hopefully by then. Let's see how we go with the free pattern first, but I'm going to match this up with a garment as well. So I'll do a free pattern, I'll finish off this, and this is if this test doesn't work, I've done multiple versions of this different fastening option. If it turns out to not work in the end, then I'll just have to scrap it and stick with the free one. But continue this. But I've got to the point where I am at the middle of this, where it gets thicker. And what I had to do was look at my own pattern notes and use them to continue. However, I told myself I have to write that pattern up, and then I can follow my pattern properly and continue from there, adding the amendments I'm going to make this a fancier version. 3 weeks passed and I did no knitting whatsoever, because rather than my next step being knitting, which is very enjoyable and easy to do when I'm tired and I just want to relax, my next step was sitting with a laptop staring at a screen and writing a pattern. So I made no knitting progress for ages, and that's why I've only just cast on those socks last night that I showed you as my new project. So this is my only other cast on, apart from the crochet project, which is a really big crochet project, which is very ongoing, because again I want to do a pattern that covers all the bases and all the options. I did a little work on that as well. I did a volunteering day where we are in a crafting space, and therefore when it's quiet you can work on your own crafts. So I made some progress on that project as well, but I am not showing that off because that's a secret. Alright then, that's it. That's my spinning progress, my pattern writing progress, my current cast-ons, my purchases, which are very small thankfully, and now I get to show you the things I finished between last vlog and this one. First up, the Gilded Cow from the University Knits book. It's finished. I don't know, should I do a slow pan? I'm holding it upside down, I believe. There is a slight taper in it, as I said there would be. Oh no, it wasn't. So yeah, it's a bit bigger, and where I didn't have my tensions quite right at the start, the bottom stitches are a bit floofier. The contrast isn't very good. The inside is just hobby colorina yarn, the dark version. It has these lovely grey stripes in. There's actually two types of grey as well. I don't know if it shows on here, but there's a sort of blue grey and a yellow grey, and they alternate. So it's not fully just black and white, but they are hidden on the inside, which is why I didn't do the repeating pattern too, because that is the inside. Now I thought, because the inside is on smaller needles, that was supposed to help with the tension when you turn it inside out, but it is actually still really wrinkly. It is not smooth on the inside. It's very wibbly wobbly. I think I could wear it the other way around if I really wanted to. And actually it's smooth, the colour work is smoother when I do that than when I do this, which is kind of strange. So it is reversible. I think part of this big crease here might be to do with sewing it up, but it was the same amount of stitches being sewn together, so it might just have been a mistake in my mattress stitch, or no, it was Kitchener stitch I used. Right, I should try it on now. Let's mess up my hair. Look. Managed not to touch my lips. So this is very cozy. It doesn't quite, I'm covering up my mouth and probably hitting the mic and stuff. So this is very cozy, but it doesn't quite feel the need to cover up the chest area whilst also being above the nose area. So not quite the shape if I were going to make one myself, and I hope to at some point, that I would want. I want something a bit more triangular in front, so I'm going to see about that. It will be really nice in winter, however, I finished this just as we started. Admittedly, we're having a stormy weekend this weekend, but it started to get warm just as I finished this. So I've not worn it at all, and it's just being saved for next year right now. Other things that are also warm that I finished just before it started to get cold are the melt the ice hats. So this one is the traditional one, as pattern intended, except I made this twice as long and half as fat as it should have been because I somehow managed to misinterpret the pattern. So little triangle on top of a lot of rib. Now, you can't really see the triangle when I try or wear it. I have a very tiny head, and it is a bit on the big side, but it's actually okay. Like, it doesn't feel too loose. It's not as bad as I thought it would be. Now, this isn't something I want to wear or would wear. And like I said, you can't really see the triangularness. I tried a little iron steam block. The triangularity, not really showing. Yeah, I showed it to my friend and he was like, well, if it didn't have a tassel, I'd wear it. So, yeah, I don't know if I'll find somebody who wants this hat at some point. I hope I do. If not, I could donate it somewhere. For now, it's sitting in my collection of knitted items. This wasn't my favourite yarn either, it was the home-based yarn. And actually, after a wash, because I did put this through the washing machine, it is a little bit nicer. It's not as bad, but I didn't enjoy the feel while knitting with this. It's okay. I mean, it's a nice dark colour. The dark colour isn't quite as the pattern intends. They expect you to do bright red. Bright red, which I got in a charity shop. I showed off these yarns and put all the names up last video. And yeah, with this one I decided, somebody had mentioned that they've done a 2x2 rib, so I thought I'd try that. And I thought I'd make the rib much longer so I could fold it over, because I prefer a folded rib style. And I made the braid more as intended, and I split out all the ends to make it a bit more crazy and fuzzy and wild. And I was quite surprised at this one. When I tried this one on, it's really cozy. It kind of suits me. I have a terrible tragic tale that I'm sure I'll tell many times of being bullied for having a bobble on my hat when I was a child, and so I chopped it off with scissors. I was about 4 or 5 years old. So I don't do bobbles, but this isn't a bobble, it's a braid. Actually, I could wear this in winter when it's the coldest of the cold and the windiest of the windy, and my normal hats would just blow off because usually I only wear caps. I could also wear this doing a video because, as about 3 people may know, during my first video I wore a cap and there was an overhead light that just cast my eyes in mysterious shadows, which was not the most professional best choice. I'm not a professional though. So, first video. I am hoping that my videos are getting slightly better, partly because that means less editing for me, partly because that means it's more enjoyable to watch them. Thank you for watching. It's a miracle if you've watched at all, let alone made it to the end of the video. If you have made it, I hope I see you next time. Bye!